My people, my intention today is actually to tell you why I've called you. I didn't intend to actually go into a monologue or a long speech. But before we do that, we're going to do some ceremonies. And that ceremony, there are 1 or 2 or 3 people that are significant to me and which I expect to be significant to all of you. For that, we're going to stand up, all of us here, for 1 minute silence. It's good to give honor to whom honor is due. We have a brother, we have a father, we have a man that made a statement when he was 33 years old. And some people discard him. But circumstance, events, history has proven him right. He was born noble. He was articulated in knowledge. He was cognitively perfect. And he was also a handsome man. He's no other person but Dim Emeka Odumegwu. All his critics have lived, they have never done anything in comparison in every known human perspective. Why can't we start learning to give honor to whom honor is due? All he used to say, no one have ever repeated. It is good and it's also easy to criticize. What is bravery? Bravery is not the idea of not being afraid, and that is bravery. So we are going to give him 1 minute silence. In that silence, I'm going to talk about a man. In Port Harcourt, in his Lego surgery, when people pay or when people do not pay, this man will defend our people on abandoned property. This man is known as the weeping governor. This man become a yardstick to measure who is a credible governor. It can never be any other person. A man that transformed a little enclave of Imo State, a 3-state in one, as of the time, 9 years only after the war, into an industrial hub with over 15 companies in a space of 3 years. Is no other person except Dev Sambakwe. I'm going to mention a name that is unusual. And if you are from a place called Wangele, you might know his name. But I'm going to mention a name because often we came from a culture that do not remember our own heroes. We only call other heroes from other countries. You might call Naomi Campbell beauty, but you forget that Bianca was one of the most beautiful ladies ever known. Bianca is not only pretty, she's articulated. She's a Lego graduate. She's a daughter of Sisiono. And she's also Miss Continental. We fail not to associate ourselves with our own. In her own being, she's everything a lady can be. But we might find an idol in other places. To me personally, she's my own idol. But it's not her I'm mentioning in this instance. I'm going to mention people that are late, because history will prove her right. But I'm going to mention a man called Dick Tiger. Do any one of you know him? Do you know why Dick Tiger was special? Dick Tiger was special because he did what no man have done. He was privileged as a boxer. But when the chiefs are down, he stood on the side of his own people. And that is what they call a man. So for that, these 3 people, we are going to give them 1 minute silence before I can continue this. Thank you. May their soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
May we emulate the spirit of the great, and may the greatness endow in all of us. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Sit down. But I have to speak and make these speeches for you to know truly where I am coming from. I am coming from perspective of an ordinary man. A man that has struggled in different perspectives in this country. A man that has witnessed the pain of my people. A man that has seen people in this country, their mother, their father die back home, they cannot be able to go home. It is not by their own choice, but it's because of the circumstance they found themselves. I'm speaking from the perspective of a man that seen people, has fair businesses, made every effort that turns to dust. Not because they are not competent, not because they are wasteful, but because of the circumstance they found themselves. I'm speaking from the perspective of seeing people that have acquired different skills. And what is that? That we are now growing into the situation that we always say, why can't somebody do something? But we forget that that somebody could be me, could be you. Somebody could be anyone. And also we realize, and I realize, as some of us here must also realize, that we are now breaking from what makes us to be what we are. And I'm going to give you one experience I had some years ago in 1988. 1988 was my first time of going to Lagos. It was late in the night. I've never been to Lagos before. I was a young man. In my attempt to leave a country that was a plague to me. When I reached the bus stop, and I was asking the conductor to direct me to number 1 Falawoye Street, Bankole in Surulere. I don't know where this place is. I've never left my village before. And I'm not sad because I love my land. I don't want to go to anywhere, any place. I like Igbo land. It's a blessed land. But I have to go to Lagos. The conductor was explaining to me how to go to this place. The driver was angry with him. He said to him, are you from the bush? Can't you take instruction and go where he told you? The man kept explaining, I am afraid of going, that I'm going to get lost in Lagos. As the driver was persistent, asking the conductor to leave me there, let me find my way. The conductor said to the driver, Dede, only one Igbo. This statement is a part of what makes me who I am. I do not joke with anyone that's an Igbo person. Ask anyone who knows me. Is it of our interest to allow the culture of a great people to break into pieces? Is it?
No.
Now, is anybody here that is not feeling what I'm feeling? Can the person raise their hand that they're not feeling that something is going wrong? If there is anybody who feels that everything is all right, because I can remember when some of my friends go home and come back and interact with Nigerian politicians, they will say to you, my brother, they are enjoying, things are good in Nigeria. And I say to him or her, have you been back to your village and see how your people live? Have you been back to your village and some of your towns and see that it looks like a shanty town? You come to Europe, you touch your light and you see the light. You touch your tap and water supply cold and hot, and you take everything for granted. You do not require to be a rocket scientist to make these simple things work. We came from a country that is the 6th largest OPEC producing or exporting country in the world. Yet, 80% of our people cook with firewood. You do not need to be a specialist engineer to control the valves of gas in order to create gas cookers. It doesn't require a complicated system. And if I attach it to a remote control sensor system, I can sit on my table and control them. I don't need to be fascinated of any Western invention. I can make better. Why I'm saying this is not out of arrogance. In this country, as I said last week, or a few days ago, I invented a machine called GlobeNet. I'm sure Kingsley must have been aware of that. I was one of the people that introduced machines that could have helped reduce MRSA in this country. Yet, I wasn't able to install any of this machine in British Hospital. All this is because I am not in my own country. All this is because my own country do not recognize the viability of its own people. Look at all of us here. Everyone here has a skill to offer our homeland. But often nobody will allow you to exercise those skills. And we will end up here collecting pension. And we will end up here to die and be sent home. And then making our homeland to be a burial ground. Ladies and gentlemen, welfare is in the Nigerian budget. But as a young man growing up, I can't remember when I enjoyed welfare in Nigeria. Maybe welfare some people have enjoyed. But I am proposing an IMO insured healthcare. And what do I mean by that, and how am I going to get it done and paid? The IMO insured healthcare will have 4 dimensions. One, I am going to, first of all, consider the situation of the Europeans when they are coming to the age they are now, of Industrial Revolution age. If you see, most of us now have traveled all over the world, but our fathers are back home and nobody is looking after them. I'm going to make a welfare provision, but I'm not going to adopt the European way, because I've learned what was wrong in the European way. What was wrong in the European way is, man is an animal that trains his young, and the young will later train the old. We respect the young, the old, and then we nurture our young. I will not develop a system where I will institutionalize my old people, but I will create a welfare system as we are now traveling to America, Gabon, everywhere in the world, and leaving our mom and dad back home, nobody's helping them. I will create a welfare system that will be looking after our old people in their own houses, so that we will have people that will maintain our culture, passing knowledge to the young. All these things are concerning me. It's concerning me because it will be a travesty that after we have seen all that is good, after we have lived and enjoyed what that is good in this country, collectively we have not decided for once to say we are going to go back home to make a change. No tree can make a forest. You can break a broom, you cannot break a bunch of brooms. That is why I'm calling you people today. I'm calling you people today because I keep waiting. I keep looking for people among us who are more wealthy. Because I know among us, even here, we have wealthy people. But I'm looking to see if somebody can rise and let us support him. Because wealth, knowledge, will, brevity, they become useful when all of them are combined into one channel and utilized. When I look and I'm not seeing anybody coming forth. It's not that our people are not capable, but sometimes the situation we have found ourselves makes us sometimes to relax because we feel it's a hopeless situation. Why should we bother? Some years ago, 4 years ago, a man called John, I wish he's here today, he told me he has a brother. He's a philanthropist. He can do this and he can do that. Can you come and support him? I said, okay, I have had all this type of thing before. Can I speak to him? Until I speak to him, I will not respond. I spoke to this man. Like what happened in 1966, 1970, none of us ever imagined how our people survived. Our people survived because through Freddy Forsyth, Ojukwu spoke and the world heard, and all our people from every corner of the world responded to the East so that we can survive. You are considering to be a bad government in Imo State. But 4 years later, I can consider myself to be a part of the greatest fraud ever imagined. And what is that fraud? Fraud is when, out of cunningness, you deceive your own kind. If you deceive people who are not your own kind, I might not feel so angry. But the worst thing is when you deceive your own kind. That is the worst you could do because you have no other place to go because your own kind is you. It is a sin against yourself. And how do a man deceive his own kind? Deceit is when an act, a behavior is performed with expectation that is the right behavior. Based on the ignorance of other people, they feel that you are doing the right thing while it is wrong because people are not aware or critically evaluating what you have done wrong. I'll give you a practical example. There is what they used to say, Now, I don't have statistics, but if I'm going to offer a scholarship to Imo people, to Anambra people, I will consider 1, 2, 3, or 4 factors. One, I will consider what is the strategic interest of this scholarship. I will consider, will my budget afford a scholarship? I will consider who are my competitors within this region. And I will consider how to get the money if I don't have it. And I will consider, will I give a quality education with this scholarship? Or am I going to create a scholarship for propaganda reasons and then cause a detriment to the development of my people? When I consider all these variables, then I will now prioritize what is required. And if I'm going to give scholarship, I will make it compulsory. But I will check where would this compulsory scholarship be viable. And I will say between the age of 5 to the age of 18, so that you have basic primary education, ability to read and write. Then I will give you secondary education so that you will be able to be competent as an adult. And I will not allow you to be selling pure water in the street of Owerri, in the street of Okigwe, in the street of Olo. I will make sure you are in school. And I'm not going to tell you I'm doing you a favor. I'm going to tell you that I'm doing my people a favor. Because if I have educated population, I have people that are ready to compete with anyone in the world. Then, I know that not everyone might like to go to university, because some people have different talents in life, and they can still be successful with those talents. But I will also, considering that we are a developing country, I will also make university education free, but not compulsory. In order not to deceive my people, I will guarantee them 100% placement for anyone that is qualified to go to university. I will not say, okay, let me give 30% and use 70 from other places to pay for it. The problem of doing that is, if you continue doing that, the number of graduate Imo State people will produce will drop. And in the next 4 years, we will lose our competitive edge in the Nigerian Federation. Is that what you want? The more you look, the less you see. Now, I would like to build roads. Of course, I would like to build roads. But I will not build roads that goes nowhere. Yeah. When you build roads and you do not build to the factory, where is it going to? You will build roads that will lead to the factory. You need to record this because I want the world to hear how we have been blindfolded. I am going to deliver something competent. I will build roads. If I am from Imo State or from Anambra State, I will check the 27 local governments in Imo State and site a factory. And I will build a road to lead to that factory. And when I build a road to lead to that factory, people in that factory know that they need to be producing so that the road will be maintained. If you build roads to nowhere, there is no reason to maintain the roads. After a while, the roads will deplete, it will not be maintained, it becomes worse and become a death trap. And for me to give me a contract to build roads, I will first of all set a committee that will check standard, that will make sure that the road they are building have a guarantee. And if you do not meet the guarantee, some percentage of your contract money will not be paid because you have not met the guarantee. And I will make sure that every road will be gutter to gutter, it will reach to its gutter edge. And when you are building hotels and more hotels, and you are in the crossroad of Port Harcourt, in the crossroad of Onitsha, in the crossroad of Umuahia, in the crossroad of Abakaliki, and we are in the center. And we have universities of students that have no place to walk because the roads lead nowhere. My brother, what is the market? What do you think is the market, sir? Prostitution. Right. My brother and my brothers and sisters, is prostitution a viable business?
No.
Is prostitution a viable business?
No.
Now, if you have mismanaged your people, mismanaged the economy, you are not creating wealth, and then somebody has graduated after his mom and dad has suffered and have expectation that when my daughter, my son graduate, my life will change. And this individual have no option. What do you think the person will do?
I'm not the opposition.
Now, who is the criminal? Is it the one that is performing the natural human instinct of survival? Or is it the one that is a precipitating factor causing crime in a geometrical proportion, imprisoning people for eating bread, stolen bread, while there is a force behind causing the situation? In an equitable society, you should stop crime and the causes of crime. And the causes of crime is those that hijack the future of their own people and force them to a situation they become vulnerable. And that vulnerability leads to crime. Such society is a regressive society. But there comes a time in the history in the history of the oppressed that people will say, enough is there,
Enough.
enough is there.
Enough.
What do you need to see for you to say enough is enough? When the disciples of John the Baptist went back to him, he said, have you met a man? He said, yes. He said, the blind can see, the lame can walk, the cripple can walk, and the dead have risen. He said, follow him, he's the man. If you have seen all these situations and you do not say enough is enough, would you say enough is enough when you are dead? That cannot be my wish to any one of us. My wish is that we should stand together and be the Igbo we used to be. Ndi Igbo means collective. Ndi is a plural. Ndi Igbo. We are the only people that answer that name because we love our own. Never you be deceived by anybody told you Igbos don't love themselves. We do love ourselves. It's just that when a bad weed is sowed among us, when we are pushed to the wall, it becomes survival of the fittest. And that is the consequence of losing war. But after 10, 20, 30, 40 years, new breed will be born that will say, no, this is not the way we used to do things. My forefather told me we are better people. And I believe we are better people, and I've come to restoring it. Amen. Why would I doubt that we are better people? Check in the field of sports. We are there. In the field of science, we were there. In every no human endeavor where a black man has made a mark, you will see one an Igbo man is there. It lives in us. There is no group that will survive the onslaught we suffered, and yet we are where we are. If you doubt it, go to Somali. Go to other places that went through the same experience. You will know that I am proud of my own people. I am proud of my own people, and I'm proud of all of you. But some people are dragging us down. The damage that has happened to us is self-inflicted. I was looking at the internet the other day. I saw a young Igbo man crying and begging for his life in Thailand. The Thailand prison is full of young Igbo men on drugs. Go and check it. Don't some of you know that?
Yeah, we know. Say it. Only in Thailand.
And the saddest part of it, not only that they will kill our people, I understand they even eat them.
Oh.
Have anybody heard that they eat them?
Yeah. Nice meat.
And in most Arab countries, also in Saudi Arabia and all countries like that, most of our people are also being executed. Is anybody from Ohafia here? Kano? Elele wode. Ime for mwe na-achụ na Kano. Anwe ha na-agba ịchụ anwụ mgbe a na-agba nta. Amụnye ọhịa ọkụ mgbada ewere aka ya na-apụta. Nwanne ọ wele wode. Ka. Enwere ihe mere n'ọkụ gbara n'ụlọ mmadụ ji aga Thailand, aga Malaysia. Ọnụ ọka gba ahụ n'ụlọ dịghị onye ga-ahafụ ebe kpawa ọkụ ka mebe jụọ oyi. And ihe o ji jọgba onwe ya. Something is happening back home. There is fire that is making men to run away from their home to survive. But you will not feel it. You will not feel it until it's your own brother. But I'm feeling it because I feel the soul of every woman. I feel the soul of every woman as Ojukwu felt. Ojukwu have no need to fight war. His father is Afro, the richest man in Africa. But when you love your people, you give all you have to defend them, even though they might hate you for it. But that's how much us are going mile. My people, is it possible?
Sure.
Of course it is possible.
Yeah.
To a situation, people will come home. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that our people are being deported from Lagos in the same country? After the insult we are suffering in Britain, in America, even soon we'll seek asylum in Somali. There is an experience I had in Lagos. This experience, it touched my heart. And you know what it is? A lady had a maid in her house. And this maid was deprived of school. The maid was to look after the children of the maid, of the lady. And the children of this lady are criminals, they are thieves. They will go and put hand in the soup, and the soup will go rotten, sour. And then they will sour, and they will eat the meat in it. And when the woman comes back in Kayode Street where we are living, she will now say it's the maid and will beat the maid. And one day she came back from school, the soup has gone off. After she has already boiled the gari waiting to eat the soup, do you know what she did? She took the gari and threw on the maid without even asking. I am going to create a law to stop such a thing. It's an abuse. And no Imo State child will be subjected to this type of situation, because education for the young must be compulsory.
Thank you.
Now, will I just say this without actually saying how I'm going to finance it? Because often African politicians will say what they're going to do, but they will not say how it will be done. Imo State is a very rich state. Imo State is a very rich state, and I'm going to expand your imagination. Imo State, as we have it today, might be between 5 to 6 million people. Israel, as a country, might be between 5 to 6 million people or 7 million people. But Israel is a country with 6 million, with a credible military parity. Is there any reason why we that are 6 million too cannot create something great among ourselves?
No.
Now, for that reason, I will take money not only from the federal allocation, but I will create internally generated revenue. Not only that, we also receive special subvention for 13%. From this money, there should be enough money to provide welfare, especially for the children and elderly, for the future of our people. It is assured it will be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why can't we create the hub in Nnewi? Why can't we create the hub in Owerri? Why can't we create the hub in Umuahia and Aba and Okigwe? And people will come to buy from us. But that will not happen if people that are leading you, ruling you, governing you, do not have the interests of the homeland at heart. If you have the interests of the homeland at heart, you know that you will develop the homeland and you will become a better Nigerian. My people, I will be happy when other parts of Nigerians will come and invest in Igbo land. But if they don't, I may also consider putting tax in Lagos so we can use it to develop our own land, because that is our economy.
Thank you.
We become a stakeholder in making the change. I cannot make the change alone. I cannot make the change alone. But the opportunity exists. Not being arrogant. I'm using this opportunity to call on Emeki Hedioha, to call on Rochas, to call on anyone that wants to stand for governorship. Let us debate on every known human endeavor, in security, in education, in science, in social welfare, in culture, in linguistic taxonomy, in every known knowledge, in astrophysics, in metaphysics, in esotericism. But you have no holiday for your own kind. Africa is the only place people interpret God for you. Why should somebody interpret your God to you? If your God cannot hear your language, there's something wrong with him. My God. Anyone that somebody shows his father is a bastard. Why will somebody, a pagan, travel 6,000 miles and then use an interpreter to interpret your God to you? What type of insult is that? The entire continent is based on interpretation of a new doctrine of reality, as if we are pagans by nature. We are not pagan by nature. My people, from my heart, yesterday I cried when I consider, as I said a few days ago, that an average British caste feels better than an African professor in 21st century. Could you imagine that? If I give you the mathematical calculation of that, you will work it out to yourself, it is real. An average British cat consumes 15 pounds a day. Times it by the equivalent exchange rate this moment. Times it by a year. Divided by 12 months. You find out that they feel better than our professors. Because no single professor, excluding his wife and children, consumes over 80-something thousand a month for himself. And I'm not talking dogs, I'm talking cats. I do not want to live in a life or in a situation where African children go to bed with empty stomach. I do not want to live in a society where both the rich and poor suffer from typhoid. Do anyone here know what causes typhoid? Militia. And I'm going to give you a scientific reality for you to analyze yourself. This is not a hypothesis, but a theory. Assuming you are in Onitsha or in Owerri, each of the houses in these places, they have water closet, sockaway. And those sockaway are digged 10 feet below, isn't it? Mm-hmm. All the fishes you pass for the last 10 years stays there until somebody sucks them out. When it rains, when you empty the water, they sink under. And when they sink under, you now go and then dig a borehole. When you dig a borehole, you will get a clean water in the face of it. But you never imagine that 1 million homes on the level of 10-foot feces drains water which you are drinking. And why would you doubt it? Both the rich and poor in our world suffer from typhoid. The bacteria that cause typhoid do not grow in any other thing except fecal water, meaning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of world you and I is living. This is the type of world your people have subjected to you to after they have seen all that is good. They take joy in seeing misery. All the feces you are passing in Woolwich, in Greenwich, all of them goes through a drainage channel. It goes to somewhere in Western Smith. And the white man uses it to make ammonia, to make fertilizer. It can also be used for electricity. There's a lot of things you can use feces for. but our own, we drink it upon all the professors we have. I want to stop it. I want to stop it because I do not want my people to be dying in desert. Yes. I want to stop it because I want people to die in Cameroon. Yes. I want to stop it because I don't want people to be prostitutes unless they want to be by their choice, but not to be forced to be. I want to stop it because as a governor, not even a president, I will set a special task force to go to all prisons and discuss with sovereign countries why is my people in prison. Tell our people to. If a Nigerian drop dead here and a Cuban drop dead here, the world will take notice of a Cuban, they will not take notice of a Nigerian because there's a dignity in a Cuban citizen. But if you are running a viable government, there is a dignity in every citizen. When British people are caught in crime overseas, the British government intervened and saved their own people. To the extent that a woman was pregnanted in the prison to be saved. I want to stop the long speech, but I will give you the opportunity to ask me any question to see if I am competent enough to be the governor of Imo State. Because I do not have the opportunity here to bring my competitors for us to debate so that we can compare who is more competent to govern. And after that, we can organize ourselves if you are convinced that we together can make a change in our land. But Chineke goes to all of you.
Thank you very much. I want to invite the chairman today to give a response to the speech before we take questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To you, but these people here, we are all hungry for change. But we have not been able to make this change because none of us has come up for it. But now we have got somebody. So why can't we support him to make the change? We are ready and we are there. We will always be there for you. As I spoke 2-3 days ago, I said, we will all be there morally, spiritually, financially for you. I want you, Megan. You will go. We will support you. I promise already what I'm going to do to make sure this change takes place. On behalf of Ihituboma here, I am going to deliver Ihituboma. I am going to deliver Ihituboma. I have made a change. I have made impact in every person in Ihituboma. Single-handedly, I introduced a scholarship in Ihituboma. I gave it secondary schools in Orbit. I won't take much of your time like Enyinna has taken much of your time. We are practicing democracy. He said you can ask him questions. When somebody gives this type of speech and they expect you to ask him questions, which means wholeheartedly he has spoken. And he expects you, where you are confused, you can ask him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Along with that, I also want to call on Honorable Ejike to one or two things before we take the questions. Please make it brief and snappy, because time is no longer our friend.
Yes, my name is Honorable Ejike, I'm former aspirant of UPP. This thing now we are trying to get into is something I know that we can do it. When I was contesting, when I was coming out under UPP for Imo State Governor, I called meetings and I know how it was there. The only thing I know we can do here as people living in the United Kingdom is to give him every support. If we can give him every support with the contact we have back home, there's no how that we will never occupy that seat come to this 2015. All we are asking for is the support of our people, the support of our people. Any contact you have back home, here, whatever you know you can do in your own local government, give it to us. Let us work collectively as a people. We will occupy that particular seat in Imo State.
Amen.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, we want to take questions now, but before we go to that, I want to make an appeal.
Make this because this is
Take
that one off. Let me do this.
Okay. Please, that's the last speech before we take the questions.
After that.
From Chief O.P. was Anedo.
Diba, yung information niya, Zelbiko. Ibo Kwen!
Yeah.
Ibo Kwen!
Yeah.
Ibo Kwen!
Yeah.
Because Obi Soma. Yesterday, Kanolo na Enyinna, number one Enyinna, na United Kingdom, na contest for governorship election na Imo State. So ya only na ba me fa Imwanya. Ala se na ma gotara ebe nneje. Mu po Enyinna ke se ama ya akpa because no ma no obu no chale zo governor na mara ya do no che we na apikwa. Negolo this morning. Phone nko owo nke Enyinna. Obo di famu beziokwu. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Ife nji like Enyinna ya bụ ọha agbago. Ọsọ ha na-efe a na-etu aka ọ dị nọ etu aka ọ dị gịnị ka ọ dị. Mana ife m na-ekwu bụ na ife ọbụla Chineke makịrị mmadụ anyị emegana anyị makị ya bad. Ife Chineke makị good mmadụ anyị makị ya bad. Onye agwa na Jonathan Goodluck ife anyị na n'onuta na ọ ga-abụ president of Nigeria mmadụ ọ ga-ekwe. Ọ ife Chineke plan. Ife na yọ ndị Imo steeti bụ na because oge Anambra bụ one. Ife na akpọ ndị Imo steeti bụ ndị ọrụ ụka. Nha aga nha ya acha nha bịa ekwe ndị ya aga ka ha megonu ka ha gaa.
Yes.
Onye ligolo ebe ahụ nha ya ekwenyegodiri ya efe nọ etu aka esi dejido petition asị nsị ọ gịnị ka ụmụnne anyị na-eme ha biko ha nwee deliverance ka anyị move forward. Ụgbọ mmiri eburu na-ebufe ya.
To make an appeal for the questions we want to ask. If somebody says something or asks anything you want to ask, please rest your case so that we will not take the thing too long. It's not that we're going to take lots of questions because of time, but please make your questions snappy. And
If you do not want the vested interest, if you do not want the cabal, as you cool my room alone, Mamma, I want to go and say, Marcus in life, man. All those things that we do not want, that is evil, to avoid it is to do the opposite. And the opposite is today. Today, assuming I need 200,000 to kickstart my campaign, and I'm risking my time, my money, my business. If everyone here do the same, why would I succumb to a vested interest? I'll give you a very simple example. This is a bottle of water. It has no life in it. And it's on the floor. If I come tomorrow, this bottle, and nobody's in this room, moves from here to here, it's no longer mine. It has developed its own power, and I should be afraid. If all of you give me a support, why would I go and seek support from a cabal who will come and hijack my idea? If you want the power to be the people, it must come from the people.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Edwin from Isi Alampalo. My brother, Enyinna, you have actually given us a plan for setting up about 27 industries in 24 months. And I understand that sometimes, for us to talk about the future, we need to somehow, talk about the past, because when you know, good. It is on record that we have a patrimony bequeathed to us by the Samamakwe. Those institutions and those infrastructures, Concord hotels, other palm and all that has been frittered away. What is your view on these institutions that have been being sold away, and what is your plan to make sure that they are all viable?
If they have been sold away, therefore it has been privatized. If they have been privatized, therefore it's no longer under the government hands. Then the viability of it depends on those who bought it. We'll do something more. But I will make sure that those who bought our asset, because we want Imo State to be a state that maintains law, maintains contract, maintains business. For that reason, we will have the right taxation for whatever they are acquired and make it comfortable for their investment to be viable and secure. But having said that, I will do something new by introducing new industries. There can never be a time when industry cannot be utilized as far as human beings are consumption animals. Thank you.
I would like you to tell me what you can do to limit or stop our young girls, teenagers being abused by the businessmen, by their uncles, by the politicians. What can you do to that?
Abuse of women, abuse of children, abuse of anyone happens in a society where people are relatively very poor. When people are poor, they might be educated but not applicable. When people are poor, they lack self-confidence. As I could still be care. What I will do through my industrial revolution, every person that is able to work must have a job, so that a woman, a lady should not be vulnerable. In order to get some money, you need a sugar daddy or a politician. When you have your money in your pocket, like every Western lady have, they make their decision with dignity and pride. But when you are poor, when you are hungry, when your family, you are in school but your own family is dependent on you, you are subjected to something that you cannot manage. Not only that, I will create what I call Imo Citizens Charter to guarantee basic rights, to guarantee basic code of conduct or practices in all our institutions. But I will create jobs so that women will have money in their pocket and they do not need to beg anyone for money. Thank you.
My brother again. No naga nele wa ihale wa yek. Ha pass ya le jam pass ya. Because now the school has now get up to test. Some of them up to test they take 4 years before I get an admission. One
it's not an easy thing to leave what you're doing to come here today. You are coming today is a good assurance that whether you speak or you don't speak, you are showing here today is a great support to our great brother, Enyinna. I've known him, and of which you have heard from him. He's very eloquent, he's a unique person. One good thing I love him for people may say that's the way politicians speak. But I will say his speech today is not political speech. Rather, is to emancipate each and every one of us. What makes most of our politicians, mainly African politicians, is they don't live or learn or study the past leaders. But one good particular thing that is very special to this great man is he has been an ardent follower of Dim Odumegwu. He has studied him, he has learned a lot about him, he has taken a lot of things from him. He has studied his mistakes and his good and his bad. For today's speech has proven without doubt that he has done that. He has done his homework very, very well. So, like he made a reference or he put an adage that you can break one broom, but you cannot break a bunch of broom. With you today, each and every one of you today, we can make a great difference, we can make a change, and the change that will yield that much needed result, that will change not only Imo State, but entire Nigeria. Because if it's our appeal today to every one of you who is here, or those who did not come or have the opportunity to come, please, whatever thing you contribute, because situation today, we will be coroner with our own way, any change. If it's one person, if it's two, if it's three, if you're Imo State indigenous, or if you're Anambra, or if you are from Lagos State, you can phone your friend in Imo State and say, we are going to vote for Enyinna, and that change will be made visible.
Well,
My name is Clement. Because your message now is about to go across the world. So please, and you mentioned something about free education, which is very good. I would like you to throw a little bit more on the medical care, child act, or women act, any provision you have for such a those.
Ladies and gentlemen, welfare is in the Nigerian budget. A good society is a society that recognizes the vulnerability of those that are helpless, the weak, the poor, the disabled. I will assure you that under the welfare system, all those that are incapacitated to help themselves will be helped. By our nature, we are not begging people.
His Excellency, you are my good friend, you are, and also a mentor to me. But my question is this: how do you fight corruption? The cabals that control Imo State. I'm not from Imo State, but I know a little much about it. How do you control those people that control the economy of Imo State, of not allowing the Imo State to develop? I just want to ask how you can control them and how you can move forward with them.
Jonathan is doing extrajudicial killing. If he was assassinating people, terrorizing his own people, then we will say he's a great leader. Jonathan is systematic. Jonathan is cautious. Jonathan is a great leader. And how do we know great leaders? It's those that have done something no other one have done before. I'm sure those who live in Lagos can see railway.
Your Excellency, my question is, what are you going to do about our local government? Respect of what the events government have done to elected officials who deserve
Often people will condemn things when they are not in, and when they are in, they start doing the same thing. But being somebody that have lived in London or in England for 24 years and go to the camp walk into the council, I find there's an advantage for government to be near to the people. Why should I enjoy this for 24 years and deny my people the same enjoyment?
God forbid.
Anyone that does this should be cursed. For what is good to you, and is good to everybody, and is good for your people. Thank you.